Hey everybody, welcome back again for another episode with Restoration Made Simple. So this week I want to talk about should I join a TPA or not? This is a big topic. You're going to hear in this industry everybody debating the pros and the cons of it. As a matter of fact, I actually wrote an article with Clean Facts magazine that was published that was titled "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly" about TPAs. So this is something I'm very close to, something I'm pretty intimate about, and it is something that I do have an opinion about as well. So, with that being said, let's just real briefly, I'm not going to do a full training on this, but I just want to give you a glimpse of a few things to think about. If you have more questions about the pros and the cons of a TPA, please reach out to us. Our website is restorationmadesimple.com. Just fill out the information page and we will get in touch with you. But to kind of jump into things head first, when we talk about TPAs, it seems like in most cases you have the haters and then you have the people who don't love it, but they're on it. I don't know anybody that loves TPA work because it does require a lot of work. It requires a lot of organization and it requires a lot of administrative time to be able to fulfill all the requirements. So as we talk about this, keep an open mind. And if I share something that maybe pushes you one way or another, hopefully it's for the better. But the one question I tell everybody when they say, should I join a TPA? I think there's a couple questions you need to ask yourself. Number one, are you set up or is your company set up in such a manner that you can follow the requirements? What I mean by that is you do need the administrative staff or somebody that can handle the workload and that can handle all of the tasks that are associated with it. If you don't think you're ready to do that, if you don't think you're super organized, if you don't think that your technicians are capturing all the data out in the field that they should, then you may not be ready for a TPA because they are pretty strict with what they want. The other thing that I would tell you is, are you willing to sign a contract to say that you're going to abide by their terms and policies? When you sign that contract, you are saying that you're going to follow their protocols, which means that sometimes you may not be making as much money on their jobs as you would be if it does not go through the TPA. That's where things get interesting, and that's where I like to talk to everybody, is when we talk about TPAs, the question is it worth it to get on it? Now, I can tell you from my company, we were a multi-million-dollar company, and yes, we did do TPA work. About 33% of all of our work that we did before I left was TPA. Was it hard? Yes. Was it difficult? Yes. Was it frustrating? Yes. Was it profitable? Absolutely. We made money off of TPAs. So when you have people who say, hey, I'm not going to do it because they dictate the pricing, you might be right. Maybe they do dictate pricing, but I can just tell you right now, when you look at some of the largest restoration companies in the nation, Belfour, ATI, Blue Sky, these guys are still doing TPA work. I can promise you that between those companies, if they were not profitable off of TPA work, they would not be doing it. So take that into consideration. When you have companies that are at 500 million to $1 billion in revenue still doing TPA work, I guarantee there is still money to be made or they would not be doing it. So with that being said, the question is, how do I go about getting into TPAs? You have a lot of them that are out there. You have Sedgwick, you have Alacrity, you have Contractor Connection, you have Lions Bridge, you have West Hill, you have all these new ones that keep popping up everywhere. I normally tell people if you're not on TPAs now to start out with one or two so that you can understand what the process is. I promise you, if you get jobs from them, it is going to be a learning curve and you have to learn their style and you have to learn their system. So don't sign up for too much too fast. The other piece of advice that I would give you is you have to understand that just because you got accepted to be a part of their TPA does not mean that you're going to get work. I can't tell you how many people I know that are on Contractor Connection or that are on Alacrity and they've never received a single assignment. So keep in mind, just because you get approved does not mean that you're going to get work from them. The other thing that I would tell you, if we're talking about the benefits of TPAs, is many times they protect you as a contractor because your contract is with them. Oftentimes you're going to get paid directly for the services that you do. I don't know how much money you guys had to write off last year, but when I left my company, we wrote off way more than we ever would have liked to have. TPAs typically are going to protect you so you get paid. The other nice thing about TPA, for those of you who are doing internet leads right now, I'm guessing with your internet leads, if you're lucky, you're probably at a 50% close ratio or less. There's some of you that might be a little bit more, but I guarantee you most of you are not. With TPA work, when you get an assignment, our closing rate was right around 92, 93%. That's a beautiful thing when you know that you don't want to spend time driving out to a job wondering if you're going to get it or not. With TPAs, you're typically going to get the job. So keep that in mind. What are some of the downfalls of a TPA? Well, they want money. So they're probably going to take anywhere from 4 to 8%, 9% off of your job. So you got to be willing to know that that is an incurred expense that you're going to take. But if you look at an internet lead or if you look at referrals that you pay to plumbers, you already have costs that are associated with that. So it's probably at the end of the day, it's going to be somewhat of a wash. Not to mention, you really don't have to do any maintenance with TPAs. You don't have to wine and dine them. You don't have to take them out to lunch because they're typically in another state. Whereas agents, property managers, plumbers, you've got to always keep them happy. TPAs, you just got to make sure you follow their guidelines so that your ranking with them stays in a good position. Some of the other negatives with TPAs is they demand a lot, but they give little back. So I don't know how many of you have had complaints where you felt like you kept giving because they kept asking. And then when you ask them a question, it might be 3, 4, 5 days before you hear back from them. Understand it might feel like a one-way deal, but the pro to that is, do you get paid directly? Did they send you a job and you didn't have to do any additional work for it? So as we look at TPAs, and I could talk on and on and on about it, I would tell everybody, don't just shut down the idea of whether or not you're going to do a TPA. Some TPAs might be better than others for you. If that's the case, don't join the ones that you don't like. But I can promise you that TPAs do still allow restoration companies to make a very good living. If they didn't, nobody would be on them. So with that being said, food for thought, look at the pros, look at the cons. I can talk hours about this. It's something that I'm very, I guess you could say it's something I take great pleasure in talking about. Reach out to us at restorationmadesimple.com. We'd love to chat. We offer other consulting services as well. And happy TPA hunting. Thanks, everybody. Bye.